even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Mark
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Murphy, and I am without my co-host, Pierre McGuire. Unfortunately, Pierre is on the ice at PPG Arena in Pittsburgh right now. He is skating in the Mario Lemieux fantasy camp that he's been telling you all about all week. I had a game there, so he cannot make it today, but he will be back with me tomorrow. And as we've told you all week, we are very excited. Tomorrow, Pierre and I will be at Hurley's Irish Pub, 1225 Crescent Street in downtown Montreal, right near the Bell Center, Lower Crescent. Easy to find, great little place there. I also suggest checking Brutopia next door. Say hello to my friend Jeff Picard, the owner. But come into Hurley's and say hello to us and watch some live hockey talk with Pierre McGuire, Tony Marinaro, and myself. I think Frankie Gagnon of RDS might be coming down as well, or TVA. I forget where he's from now. I apologize. But we will be there tomorrow live, teeing up the Bruins Canadians and talking all things NHL and NCAA hockey as the conference tournaments are underway. But we're going to get right to my guest right now because he is doing us a huge favor. He's between rinks right now. His sons are playing some hockey, and he's taking the time to be with us on the Eye Test, and that's Sportsnet host on the Jeff Merrick Show. Jeff Merrick himself joining me here on the Eye Test.
What's up, bud?
Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. You're bringing up some good memories there, mentioning Hurley's and my good buddy. I used to talk to Francois Gagnon all the time, one of the great guys of the game. Yep. Why can't I be there, Murph? What's going on?
I know. I would love for you to be here, man. If you can get over here, do it.
Yeah, listen, I have about my half my family lives in Montreal and TMR, so whenever I go, I always visit them. I spent a couple of days with your co-host Pierre McGuire 2 years ago at the draft in Montreal, and I don't know if you've ever been to an arena with Pierre. Have you ever had that experience? Because Pierre, as you know, is like the most connected guy in the world, and whether it's at the hotel and the gym. Worked out with Pierre a couple of times at the hotel, or just going to the rink and being in and around the draft. Like, it is spectacular how many people this guy knows. Like, the network is immense, but I have so many great memories of Montreal. I don't know if you ever went to the old Montreal Forum.
I never made it.
You never, man.
I was close. My senior year of high school, 93, actually, the year they won the cup, the last year they won the cup.
Yeah.
I was supposed to come up, and I ended up playing a pickup tournament. I promised my buddies I'd do it, and I passed on. I'm like, oh, I'll get there again, and then it just never happened.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like, everything, we always talk about things you have to do as a hockey fan, and there's a number of, and now they include teams like you got to go see a game in Nashville, you got to have the Vegas experience, all of it. You got to go to a Winter Classic, a Stadium Series game. Like, there's so many different things now that hockey fans have to do, but still, one that endures. Saturday night, Montreal. 7:01, the lights go down, and you feel like ghosts of the old Forum, Jacques Plante, and Rocket Richard, and Jean Beliveau, and I'm always getting the tingles on my arm here, Murph. I was just thinking about, like, that is an experience like no other. And I've always said, and you probably heard me blast off on this one before, there's only two places in the world where they do ceremonies properly. One is Buckingham Palace, the other is the Bell Center.
Totally
agree. Those are the two places. Everywhere else, stop it. No one knows how to do ceremonies. Only those two places know how to do ceremonies.
You know what? Let's keep telling story. I'll tell you a quick one here. My first time ever covering a game up here, Jeff, was in, was it 2002, the year that Koivu came back?
Beautiful.
Remember for that series?
Oh.
Yeah. Unreal. So he comes back, and it's, I'm there. It's game 6. The Canadians can clinch. They're up 3-2 in the series. They had won game 5 in Boston. So it's my first time coming up here. I get up here. I hit so I left Boston, and it was 75 Fahrenheit. I remember it was Easter Sunday, 2002. And I'm like, oh, this is great. It's going to be a beautiful ride. I go up 93, and right as I cross into 89, whiteout snowstorm. I had to pull over for 2 hours. One of those, they just come through the mountains and they're gone in a couple hours. And I pull over, I wait it out, and I get up there, and I was like, I need to check. I got to go find a burger and a beer and watch some hockey. It's just ended up being like a 7.5 hour ride. So I end up at the Plains, which became one of my favorite watering holes here. Yeah. And I just sit down next to this. It was like me and 4 other guys in there. It was like a Toronto Islanders playoff game, I think, was going on.
Yeah.
We start talking. It turns out this guy I start talking to is one of the biggest record producers in Montreal at the time, really into punk rock. His name was Ronnie Nurse. He worked with an old crazy punk band called Grim Skunk. I don't know if you
remember Grim Skunk. Yes, I remember Grim Skunk. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So he used to do he would come in and do like the freestyle rap for them on stage and mix it in with the punk and say great stuff. So he goes, well, what are you doing? I go, well, I got to be at the rink. He's like, come on, you're coming out. And I go, I'm going to regret this. Next thing I know, it's 5 hours later. It's about 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm in the basement of McLean's. We had come back there after we went to a punk show. Yeah. And we met the owner and we're hanging out. And then I go back there, guys, I got to go home. I got to be at the rink. So I get home, I get to the rink for the game day skate. And I'm going around doing my thing in the dressing room. I get up to PJ Stock and Stalker looks at me and he goes,
I love Stock.
Come here. You smell like a goddamn brewery. Go back to the room and get a nap. Get a nap right now. What is wrong with you? And he goes, I know. Montreal. He goes, welcome to Montreal, buddy.
First of all, that's rich for PJ.
Right?
To be saying that. Like, Murph, if you've like offended PJ by being out too late the night before or too early the morning,
I had a good night.
You like when you have PJ Sox like, ooh, Murph, you might want to cool it, you might want to take it down a level here. You've really done something, Murph. So congratulations to you. When even PJ Stock comments on it, then you know you've really done some damage to yourself here.
But I'll tell you, I get in there for the game that night, and just everything you just said, the lights go down. And I'm like, wow, I'm not in Kansas anymore. This is unreal. And I couldn't, it's my first time up in that press box. And for those out there that don't know, it's a catwalk. So it goes all around the rink, everybody. And like, you've got stands behind you. And so the fans can see you, you can see them. And they pretty much know where the visitor media is. And they're yelling at us, giving us the bird, saying, you suck, whatever. I'm like, this is awesome. I love this place. I love it.
The two loudest venues for hockey
right now we're talking or overall?
No. I'm just thinking like in my experience, Cops Coliseum in '87, Gretzky to Lemieux. That was berserk. Edmonton in 2006 during their run to the Stanley Cup final with the Carolina Hurricanes winning the whole thing. But the Bell Center the thing about Bell Center is it is consistently loud. Like when Montreal is competitive, they go crazy. There's only one event that I've been at in Montreal at the Bell Center louder. And I'm glad that I got to have this experience. I went to see a GSP Diaz fight at the Bell Center. And I thought I had heard it loud before. I've never heard Montreal that loud. The way that they love George St. Pierre is like unparalleled. I know how much they love the Habs, but GSP, like that was like a whole different level that I wasn't even ready for. Yeah,
I was there when he when he retired, they brought him out in the ice before again. I was at that game, and you're right. It was unreal, man. But I'll tell you, it's a great place to see a game, and especially when it's Bruins Canadians. I mean, it's totally. People say this rivalry's dead, Jeff. I don't buy it. I mean, if you look at the games, besides that one that ended up being a blowout in the third period, the last one they played in Boston, they've had some tight games this year, and there was an overtime game here. It's here.
Can I jump in on that one? Because I'm with you. Like, when it comes to teams like Boston and Montreal, I'll also throw in Detroit and Montreal. Mm-hmm. I'll throw in Boston and the New York Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
When you consider the history that all these teams have had with one another, I'll never say the rivalries are over or the feud is over. Right. All I'll say is they're dormant for now.
Yeah.
Like, that's just it. Because they can erupt in like 2 seconds. Like, you tell me, like, if we have like a Rangers Boston Bruins series in the playoffs this year, you don't think we're going back to the late 70s or the early 70s, late 60s and dragging up all those visuals again?
Park trade,
100%.
Come on.
All of it, right?
Yeah.
Just like Philadelphia and Montreal. You may say, oh, there's nothing there anymore. It's not. No, it's not. It's just the coals are still warm, but every now and then, like that history is going to be there forever, just like Buffalo, Ottawa. Just like it doesn't matter. Like, those rivalries exist, and all they've just cooled off a little bit. They can erupt at any time. They really can. And then all of a sudden, history starts flooding in. And the great thing about that is fans that weren't there, like newer fans that have just joined the game, get to relive, get to live that and get to experience it. And it's a great way to understand the game too.
Jeff, I'll say this, and I think all the stories, but 2011, this rivalry paved the way to the Stanley Cup for the Bruins, for them winning it the first time in 39 years.
Andrew Ferentz.
That series
Andrew Ferentz.
Love malfunction. Did you see the clips? Him and Claude and Bergeron, they've been doing these Cue the Memories podcasts. They've been great.
I haven't seen them yet.
Season. Yeah, check it out. It's on their website.
Oh,
and
nice.
they had Claude Julien, Patrice Bergeron, and Andrew Ferentz talking to some fans, and Russo was doing it for BostonBruins.com. Great stuff. He told that story, and he actually said that after that year was over, one of his good friends, who's a policeman from Boston, I actually know him, and he was over in Afghanistan during that whole playoff run. So Andrew took the glove, left it in the glove malfunction form, and sent it to him in Afghanistan. And awesome. He sent the guy sent the picture back with his troop and everything, just holding it up. It's good stuff. But what I was gonna say is that series paved the way. I mean, the Bruins almost lose that series. The direction of this franchise goes in a much different direction. I mean, I'm convinced that Claude Julien's gone after that. Peter Chiarelli's gone after that. Neely was ready to clean house if they blew that series. Remember, they were down 2-0 too. So that was a hell of a series. I'll never forget it.
That was one of my it wasn't the best Stanley Cup final that I'd ever see. Like, I've always reserved that spot for 1987. That Philadelphia Edmonton series. But when you talk about like just the Stanley Cup final itself, like getting there is a whole different experience. But that Stanley Cup final,
you're talking about the reporters getting there?
Well, there was that too. Like it's always good. I remember, it's like when anyone walks by and says like, "Whoa, the Boston Bruins sure took the Montreal Canadiens reporters right out of this one." Like, you really have something here. But like there was, as far as like emotion and like legit hatred. And it's still that still sort of exists to this day. Yeah. Between players that were on the ice, and you still see it with the fans as well. And like this is a long time ago.
I know.
Like this is 2000. This is 2000. Like Bergeron's retired, and Chara's retired. The Sedins are retired, and Luongo is retired. Like they're all gone. Yeah. But still, like they will carry that with them forever, and those stories will get told forever, no matter where Brad Marchand goes. He's going to be asked about that series. Wherever Tim Thomas goes, and Zdeno Chara and Bergeron and Nathan Horton, if he ever comes back to do interviews, if anyone could drag Nathan Horton back to do interviews, he would talk about all this, and all those guys on the Vancouver Canucks too. Horton was absolutely fantastic. But like there to me, there's nothing like a good boss. Like, it's funny, the minute you say Boston and Montreal, the first thing that comes to my mind is Thomas and Price.
Oh yeah,
Tim Thomas and Carey Price.
It was good stuff. Hey, I love the sweatshirt there, my man. I heard you
PWHL, baby.
Yeah, I listened to some of the show. You know what's been? You got to tell me, Jeff. So every day I listen to you every day. Bless you. At about 1:00 though now with the Jays, it cuts out on the stream to the Jays. Is there an alternative place I can go to?
There is.
That's the podcast comes out.
There is another stream that it goes onto, I believe. I can get that information for you, but the best way is just to grab it on the podcast. Jays are back, baby. Like I don't mind defaulting for them. Like, hey, that's cool. My ball team is back.
But I enjoyed the combo with Haley, and you guys are. I was unaware until I was listening to you guys that they're getting some of these games into the big arenas. They already played Toronto. Yes. They just announced Montreal, Toronto will play in the Bell Center, and then you guys are talking about, is it Pittsburgh, Detroit?
Yeah. So this weekend's a big one. So it was a couple of games. One at it's Ottawa, Boston at Little Caesars in Detroit on Saturday, Sunday at PPG Paints Arena, which I had a really hard time saying on the show today for whatever reason. I bought a new tongue. I bought a new tongue yesterday, Murph, and I broke it in on the show. Don't know what I was thinking, but it's going to be Toronto, Montreal. That's going to be Pittsburgh. Strongly believe that both these two markets will be, when the next round, the initial round of expansion comes here for the PWHL, that they will be included. And I think Haley brought up a great point too. When you consider how much hockey is played in Michigan, they don't have any women's D1 programs.
No.
And I look for that, like as far as like the growth of women's hockey, we focus a lot of it either on the young girls just picking up hockey sticks for the first time, or the PWHL in between there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if having games in Detroit, having a team in Detroit eventually leads to hopefully Division I hockey somewhere in Michigan. You cross your fingers.
And I heard too, you said Menon Riom is coaching.
She works with Little Caesars. Yeah, she does some stuff with Little Caesars as well. She also works with Los Angeles Kings. So
Okay.
she's still very much involved as well. Absolutely.
That's good stuff.
But listen, it's a great league. And I want to say it on the show too is I don't know if you've been to a game yet, Merck, but the vibe is totally different. Like
I have
everybody,
not,
like,
but I
dude,
heard it's fun. I heard it's great.
everybody's happy.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, you go to an NHL game and
Yeah.
it's this combination of like angry and anxious and nervous and cranky. And it's like,
Yeah.
it happens, right? You get
Yeah.
that way when you've been part
Yeah.
of, when you cheered for a team or covered the game for like, it just happens. But you go to a PWHL game, and again, this may change. Murph,
Yes,
this
of course.
may change. But right now, everyone's just happy to be there.
Yeah.
Everyone's just happy. Like they do all this, that regular stuff, get on the officials and boo and cheer, like regular hockey stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just like this idea of hockey joy. You know what
Yeah,
I mean, Murph?
celebrating the sport.
They're just happy to be at a hockey game. It's taken
That's
so
brilliant.
long for these
I
women
love
to get there. They're just happy to be there. Now, will it all change? Will everyone become bitter? Yeah, probably. So it happens at all sports leagues. But like, if you get a chance, go check it out because right now it's really enjoyable.
I'm
You'll
going to
love it.
actually the play-by-play woman for the Boston franchise, Bridget Prue,
Yeah.
sits next to me in the press box at Bruins games sometimes. So
Nice.
she said, you got to take your daughter over. I'll hook you up. Come meet the
Gotta go.
players. So I'm going to take Maddie over. It's going to be.
You gotta
I'm really
go.
looking forward to it.
It's
So good
awesome.
stuff.
You'll love
So
it.
what else, Jeff? Just a boring week in the NHL, right?
Nothing, Matt Rempe may get another team in Atlanta. I don't know, trade deadline last week, and Demko is injured week to week, and the sky is falling in Vancouver.
Oh
and,
my gosh.
the Pittsburgh Penguins are bewildered, and Chris Letang seems to have forgotten how to play hockey, and the team's getting shell shocked. And I think that Vegas game last night pretty much eliminated the Seattle Kraken, and now we're wondering if Shane Wright's going to get called up because of it. But yeah, just a quiet, nothing happening week around the NHL. Nothing I can really think of, Murph.
Yeah, let's go to Pittsburgh there because that's where my co-host Pierre McGuire is, and Pierre's been telling us, they're having fun. Obviously, when these guys get together, all those alumni,
sure.
they have a great time, and it's like old times. But at the same time, I mean, there's sort of a dark shadow hanging over it with the way the season's going, and obviously a lot of arrows are being shot at Kyle Dubas right now. But Pierre, look, and Pierre's been critical of him too, but. He said, I got to give him credit. And I wanted you to know this too. And I thought this was pretty good of him. Every year, the GM speaks to these guys. When they get there, they do a dinner. He comes in, he speaks, takes some questions. He sat there, he took the bullets, and he said, I know I got to fix things, and I'm going to. And, say what you want about Kyle Dubas. People, I know in Toronto don't like him right now. People in Pittsburgh don't like him. But I like that he faced the music there. And he seems like he knows I got to get on a mission right now. I have a lot of work in front of me, but I'm going to tackle it and I'm going to do it. So I think that's a good sign for Penguins fans that he's looking at it head on right now.
So I've known Kyle since he was a junior agent at Uptown, right? When he was like his clients, Kyle Clifford would have been one of his clients. I think Callie Yarncroke would have been one of his clients.
This week too.
What's Kyle Clifford is in the news this week very much as well. Yeah. I remember Dubas telling me that his nickname is the Colonel because his middle name is Frank. Get it? KFC.
Oh god.
Kyle Frank Clifford. That's why we call him the Colonel. I still remember Dubas texting me that when I was on set at Hockey Night. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm trying to do my job. Here's the thing about Kyle Dubas. Few plan and prepare as much as Dubas does. And he already has a plan for, I'm sure, for this contingency. If things don't go right, this is how he's going to conduct business. The thing about Dubas is, don't forget, he came in and the mantra was still, we want to be a competitive team.
Win one more for Crosby.
A playoff team. We want to give another shot here to Sidney Crosby for what he's done for this organization. So what did he do? He filled out the bottom six with a bunch of new players. We can discuss and debate whether those were some of the right choices and the term for the contract. Fair enough. He went out and made the trade for Erik Karlsson. Don't forget, this was all done to try to get that crew that made the commitment to the Pittsburgh Penguins to stay together. This was Kyle Dubas and ownership saying, we're going to give it another shot here. Right. We're going to see if we can still squeeze some more out of there. Did it work? No, it hasn't. Like age and aging curves, like age catches up to all of us.
Yep.
Right. No one's escaped its clutches. And so now Dubas goes to plan B. What happens if it doesn't work? And I think one of the things, and we're not going to know what happens here until the lottery, and then Dubas has 3 days afterwards. what do you do with the first round draft pick that is owed the San Jose Sharks in the Erik Karlsson deal? Now, it's top 10 protected, and it looks like, the Pittsburgh Penguins are nestled nicely in that top 10.
Yeah.
But it's their choice whether they want to keep it or whether they want to punt that pick to next year. So I think that'll be decision number one. And then after that, I think it's conversations with a lot of players. Yeah. And I think one of those players, and this would be a really difficult trade to pull off, I think one of those players is probably Erik Karlsson.
Oh yeah.
Like
sure. I've heard what Elliott said too about Ottawa. So
yeah, like that would, especially with the presence of Daniel Alfredsson, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a key.
It would make a lot of sense. And he does live there. His wife is from Ottawa as well. There's an affinity for the city, and there's still an affinity from those fans towards Erik Karlsson. But I think that he knew taking this job that this might happen. Like, I don't think anybody would take this job and not think, okay, you know what? After a year or maybe two, we're going to have to start to scale back here.
Yeah.
Now, the difficult thing for this organization is, as you well know, Murph, since Sidney Crosby entered the NHL in 2005, this is the first time his team's ever retreated.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, it's the first time Kyle Dubas has ever had to do a teardown. You look at Toronto, It's always been build. And all of a sudden now it's like, okay, how do we do the teardown part of this? And how deep do we want to make the cuts? Yeah. So it's new for Crosby. And this is like in his whole career. Like, think about this. His whole life. Yeah. All he's known is grow, success, right into minor hockey. It's a junior with Rimouski, culminating in a Memorial Cup appearance where they end up losing to the London Knights, that powerhouse team in 2005, but then into the NHL, and it's grow and build and cups and trophies and Hall of Fame and Mount Rushmore and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, for the first time in Crosby's career, he's got his team waving a white flag and saying we're taking a step back. And like, it's devastating.
Yeah.
Like, he's never experienced this. Now, there are still a lot of meaningful games on the horizon for him as there's a more robust international calendar. And that gives Crosby still something to play for and championships to play for. But for the first time in his career, his club team has taken a step back. That's affected him. It's affected Malkin. But I still maintain, if you look at the games, whether it's the Sabres game on the weekend, the Edmonton game where, I think it's like the second shift, he throws that pizza to Connor McDavid. Like, that is not a Chris Letang play. And if you look at the game last night as well against Ottawa, he's missing one-timers. He's slipping on the ice, causing, breakaways going. Chris Letang, as much as everyone, and we think of Crosby, is all devastated by all of this, it seems to have really affected Chris Letang.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like a profoundly different player out there, Murph.
Yeah. I mean, I think you look back, if we go back a few years and just everything he's gone through with the stroke, his dad, it's been an emotional roller coaster. And you kind of see, okay, he's finally settling back into just hockey. He's able to kind of escape the emotions of what's going on away from the rink. And now this, I can understand. I mean, he's human. And so it's a tough time there, but I am impressed with the way Dubas has done that. And you're right. He had to know it was coming, and now he's going to have to exercise that.
The thing about Kyle too is, like, you go through Toronto and you go through the slings and arrows and you go through, that gauntlet that is Toronto.
That'll toughen you up.
Like, he had thick skin going in, but like, that guy's skin is the thickest. Like, you're not going to offend him. You're not going to hurt Kyle. There's a total, like we always say, Wolverine, right? Like, he's Wolverine now when it comes to criticism. And I think someone like Kyle Dubas just says, okay, so that didn't work. So what do we do now? Now, I do think it'll be interesting to see what happens on July 1st. I think we're all sort of the mind that we can't see Crosby anywhere else. As much as people want to marry him to the Colorado Avalanche and the dream, and Nathan McKinnon and him playing together, et cetera, the Nova Scotia connection, et cetera, chasing Stanley Cups. I still think that he does 3-year deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins, $11 million, 10.5. You tell me, Murph, somewhere in that neighborhood, and Crosby remains. And then he becomes part of whatever Kyle Dubas wants to do with this team. Call it what you want, rebuild, reload, everything, whatever you want to call it. I still think that's on the horizon for him.
I'll tell you, Pierre and I had this discussion off air yesterday, and he said, look, the one thing, like, I don't think people ever have to be worried, and you just said it too. He's not going to want out. He's going to want to stick around. And
I think so.
You know why, Murph? When he first got to Pittsburgh, who took him in? Mario Lemieux. And what was Mario doing at the time for the Pittsburgh organization? He was saving them, basically. He was keeping them afloat. He was pushing them forward through some really turbulent times. He saw that firsthand. And obviously he thinks the world of Mario, learned so much from him.
Yeah.
He knows, hey, now I'm kind of in his position now. And I want to stick. He wants to stick there and help out and get them through this storm. And I can't see the only way I see him leaving there, Jeff, would be if it was something like, and I'll draw a comparison to the Bruins, and we'll go back to 2000 when Harry Sinden went to Ray Bork. And remember that.
Said, do you want that?
Harry Sinden. Harry Sinden went to Ray Bork and said, look, you deserve a cup and I can get you out of it.
That's it. Crosby has his cups. He has his cups. He has his place in the Hall of Fame. That's all set. Now, here's the one thing that I've never gotten a straight answer on. And I did ask the commissioner about this about a million years ago, and kind of gave me an answer, not one that was necessarily satisfactory, but nonetheless, here's what I'll ask you about Sidney Crosby and Mario Lemieux. As you all recall, and this is an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of hockey fans to have, but here we go, Murph. When Sidney Crosby joined the NHL, as you correctly point out, he stayed with Mario Lemieux in Mario Lemieux's mansion.
Yes.
How was that not cap circumvention?
Ooh. Wow.
Is that not a benefit outside of the contract, which is not allowed under the CBA, under any CBA that's been signed in the salary cap?
Honestly, I never thought of that, Jeff. Wow. You're absolutely right.
Not everybody's living at Mario's mansion.
People aren't going to want to admit that, but factually, you are correct, sir.
How is that not salary cap circumvention?
Well, you know what? Speaking of salary cap circumvention in that trade deadline last week, Kelly McCrimmon, come on!
I love it. I love it.
Look, Jeff, I can't sit here after cheering for the Patriots here in Boston, seeing what Bill Belichick did to bring Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl to this franchise and to this city, and basically turn this city around as a sports city.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he didn't cut some corners, but he, as far as we know, it was majority was done within the rules. And if it's all within the rules, then hey, more power to him. It's the other 31 GM's faults that they don't do it either.
I'm with you.
I'm not knocking Kelly McCrimmon.
Direct your anger at the appropriate place. Exactly. I always say the thing about the Vegas Golden Knights is they think of everything as a resource. They think of players as a resource. They think of prospects as a resource. They think of draft picks as a resource. They think of cap space as a resource. And this is the big one, they see the CBA as a resource.
Oh, yes.
McCrimmon grabs it and says, okay, this is our controlling document.
Yep.
This is how we're supposed to behave. How do I bend this to my advantage?
Yep.
How can I massage this to our advantage? Now,
and more
they're doing exactly nothing that contravenes the CBA. I don't want to hear crap about, it's the spirit of it. I hated when they used that spirit of the CBA for the Ilya Kovalchuk contract. I thought that the New Jersey Devils had found out. I hate even calling it a loophole because it's not. Like, it's in the CBA. This is the controlling document. It didn't run afoul of it at all. So I don't pick up when people put down the spirit of this is the spirit of the salary cap and they're violating blah 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 blah.
You know what I like, Jeff? I like the spirit of winning. That's what I like.
Well, listen, and I've described it, and I've been told that people in the Vegas organization don't exactly like it when I say this, but I do mean it as a compliment. Like, this is the ruthless pursuit of the Stanley Cup.
That's the word I use. I love
ruthless.
It.
It's ruthless.
That's why it reminds me of Belichick. It's ruthless, and
I'm here to win. I'm not here to make friends.
Yep.
I'm not here to make buddies. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win the Stanley Cup, period. And the thing that we know about the Vegas Golden Knights, and this has been one of the lessons, no matter what it costs and what you have to sacrifice to improve your team, you find a way to do it.
Yeah.
And give it to Kelly McCrimmon. He finds a way to do it. So
I can tell you,
I have about zero problem with how the Vegas Golden Knights and Kelly McCrimmon have conducted their business. Now, none of this happens without support from up top. So that is George McPhee, and that is certainly ownership as well. So this is like a complete organizational decision. This is how we behave. Now, they have a lot of great things they can sell. A, they're a winning team. B, it's a wonderful place to win. We all know about the tax situation. So like there's a lot of bonuses here, and players know that this is a team that is always trying to win.
Exactly. And I think they accept the fact that they could be part of that and get shipped out because of it. They understand it. And that's a risk they're very willing to take if it means getting a cop. And man, did my friend Bush luck out going there, huh?
Oh, I'll tell you what, there's one player that I really thought was going to end up there and was going to try to maneuver his way there. And that player is Matthew Tkachuk. I just want you, Murph, as a little thought experiment here, as a thought experiment. Let's just all close our eyes, everybody watching right now, and imagine Matthew Tkachuk on the Vegas Golden Knights. Like, he was calling that shot. He was directing that trade. Now, Florida was certainly, and turned out to be a great landing spot for him as well. Right. But I really did think when he was exiting Calgary and he was sort of directing, I know a lot of people saying St. Louis, and the family and all that. We understand that. I always thought Vegas. And can you imagine, Murph? Matthew Tkachuk playing on the Vegas Golden Knights.
Unreal.
Be awesome.
Unreal. And they're a team to watch too. But Jeff, look, I know you're pressed for time. I'm going to let you go, but I appreciate you taking the time, my friend.
Oh, anytime.
Next time you're on, we'll have Pierre on as well. And hey, maybe we can do it in Hurley sometime.
Here's what I want. See this goaltender over my shoulder? That's Joe Malash. Old California Golden Seals goaltender, always stuck on playing on bad teams. I thought he was awesome. I still maintain about Joe Malash that if he would have played on one of those powerhouses in the 70s, the Flyers and the Bruins and the Islanders and that, he would be in the Hockey Hall of Fame by now. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Joe Malash, and I always love hearing stories about Joe Malash. Here's my one request to you and Pierre. Next time I come back, can I get Pierre Maguire to tell me his favorite Gilles Malash story? That's what I want.
Pass that along, and I'm sure he will. One thing I want to do before I let you go here, and I know you're going to appreciate this. So do you know Bob Borgen?
Bob Borgen.
Out of LA. He's a hockey historian. He's done a lot of producing as well and movies and stuff. So Pierre knows him very well. And actually, he was introduced to him through Stu Hackle. I'm sure you know.
Yep.
And anyhow, he sends us every week this date in hockey. So I'm going to just pick a random year right now, Jeff, and I'll give you this date in hockey tidbit.
Okay.
Go for it.
So you want me to pick the year?
Pick the year. Any year.
I want you to pick 1969.
1969. Well, he did not send one of those.
Okay. Hang on. Give me 1976.
Oh, damn it. 0 for 2.
Okay.
We got a 78. We got a 78. We got a 79.
Give me 78. Give me 78.
78.
Yeah.
Boston defenseman Dennis O'Brien. Do you remember that name?
Yes.
Became the first player in NHL history to play games with 4 different teams in one season when the Bruins lost 6-2 at Philly.
What were the teams?
Tell me what you know about him and what the team.
I don't know much, but was he part of that team where they had 7 20-goal scorers?
I think
on that
so.
team. I think it held the record. Grapes coaching then, or had he already gone to Colorado? I think Grapes might have been coaching. Was he one of those players that had the 20?
Yes, it was. I'm looking at it right now. Here we go. Good for hockey, DB, isn't it?
And it was on. I think it was on the last game of the season, and it was against the Maple Leafs. It was a slap shot from the point, where the final player scored his 20th.
There we go. Yep. You had Bobby Schmatz with 20, John Wensick with 28, Don Marquardt. God, I love Don Marquardt. 20, Bob Miller, 15, Wayne Cashman, 27, John Rattel, 27 goals, Terry O'Reilly, 27 goals, Peter McNabb, God bless him, 35, and Nifty, 38.
Ricky Middleton was just the best, by the way. You know, we always talk about players that we never talk about a lot.
Let's make it happen.
That guy is so good. I listen, when you talk about skilled players from any era, the name that never gets talked about enough is the one you just mentioned. Nifty Middleton was the guy.
Oh, he's great.
And silky hands. Silky hands.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Get your kids where you're off to.
Where am I? I'm at Clippers Arena today.
Awesome.
Just a practice. When kids practice.
Good stuff, buddy. Good stuff. I love it. Keep up the great work, Jeff. We'll hook up down the line. Definitely look forward to seeing you at the draft in Vegas, my friend.
Absolutely. We'll see you at the Sphere, bud.
All right. Jeff Merrick joining me here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. My co-host Pierre Maguire, not with me today, but he will be back tomorrow as we are live from Hurley's, 1225 Crescent Street in Montreal at 4 o'clock. Join us there before the Bruins Canadians. We don't have many questions, so you know what? We're gonna take it up and wrap it up right now early. I'm gonna get ahead. I got to catch up on some writing because I was not at practice today, covering the Bruins. So I got to do my daily recap of what went on with them, and I'm gonna get to bed nice and early tonight, folks. So I am good to go for you at Hurley's tomorrow, 1225 Crescent Street, 4 p.m. Join us. Look forward to meeting you. There you go. There's the banner right there. Great place. Pierre Maguire and I, as well as Tony Marinaro, maybe even Frankie Gagnon. So look forward to seeing everybody there and look forward to seeing you here in the chat room. We love you. Thank you. And thanks to production crew. I can't wait to be with tomorrow. I'm Jimmy Murphy. This has been another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre Maguire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.